Y'all, we're live. I'm gonna wait till I see a couple of y'all in chat before I get started. But I'm gonna let this sit for a minute till I see a few of y'all in chat, and then we'll get started. Apologies, I do have to tab out like this to make a lot of stuff work. So I'm gonna have to restart the game real quick. My Streamlabs did not, or my OBS. Yeah, my Dixper did not pick it up. Okay, I guess no Dixper tonight because it ain't working. Yeah, we're just gonna hang out here till I see some people in chat, then we'll get rolling. If y'all have not played Dixper stuff, I will send y'all crates, even though it's not working today. To give this one more try since no one's here yet. Let's see. Okay, let's get Dixper open first. Okay. Come on, let's try to reset the collection. Okay. I'm just gonna get this started.
Each day.
On Valentine's night,
Time as you know it freezes.
20 minutes past 10.
Keep up, Doctor.
Thinks we're going to smother her in her sleep.
I'm a grave digger, Doctor.
I was at home,
David is my husband.
all on my lonesome.
Stabbed him with a steak knife.
Nothing changes.
I'm a qualified angel of death.
When I'm dancing,
You get this day over and over.
Hilda,
I black out.
I don't think she's got long.
And Laurie just...
Naked on the beach.
Hannah.
Is that it for today?
That is interesting, all of its own. That left me with more questions than anything.
I'm Lacey Hendricks. So you don't know about me then? Sorry, I've not heard anything about that. I suppose I could tell you, but I don't have all the gossip.
That is so not conversational.
Where to start? My next door neighbour in Jobson Hill, where I live, she was murdered. 80, and they diversion burgled her. But she was wise to it and started calling the police. They slit her throat with a bread knife. So I started a neighbourhood watch. Have you been listening to me? Ask me something about my problem. It was me and Agnes. Everyone else thought we were overreacting. If they want their throats cut, that's up to them, living in their bubbles. But Agnes... Poor Agnes. Just one question at a time, please. She went missing, and still is. And that's what people think. But it's not the truth. It killed them. It looks normal enough. A smartly dressed, door-to-door saleswoman. I know because I heard my other neighbours shout at her. No Jehovah's! They think anyone knocking is a Jehovah. But she said she was selling double glazing. I don't know, I didn't answer the door. Best not to nowadays. But I watched her go to Agnes's. Poor Agnes. She let her right into her house. I was at Henley Church. They had a service that ran right up till midnight.
Man, there seems to be one church in town.
For us less fortunates without a love in their life. Well, now. Do you have someone, Doctor? Do you have a love in your life? Keep him safe. You never know who's going to come knocking on your door. I could only see the silhouette. It turned from a person into a, well, it looked like, I guess you'd call it a Medusa. Snakes for her face. And Agnes just fell to the floor. A few minutes later, the woman left, smiling like the cat that got the cream. That was the end of Agnes. saw it with my own eyes. What more proof do I need? You're starting to sound like Dr. Decker. He didn't believe me either. I didn't have much luck with him, like I said. He didn't believe me. He thought I was having a hallucination caused by the stress of my neighbour being so brutally murdered. Where is Agnes, though? I haven't found her, have they? Have they?
Gonna ask Jaya if she knows about that.
Sorry, Doctor. I don't know. I think you might be barking up the wrong tree there.
Okay. Hey, Fancy Tacos.
What? That can't be possible. Is that true? Why don't I know about it then?
Glad you're here.
When was this then? Is she alive? Her useless husband is? Don't know much about him, other than the fact that he looks at me
You're
like
welcome.
I'm 6 foot under every time we meet. He doesn't seem too bothered she's gone missing either. He did at first, when the police were crawling around. But now they've gone, that's stopped. If I hadn't seen that thing eat her, I'd... No. He's a weaselly little man who spends far too much time in his garden. It's probably like the National Trust back there. The constant digging and building, pruning and sawing. What a thing to say! Why would you say that? I kept watching the front door after that saleswoman had left and nothing. She didn't leave, and you can't get out the back since the council sold the garage block. Ron's a gardener, not a killer. Unless... Agnes said Ron was laying the foundations for a new greenhouse. You don't think... I need to call the police. I need to call them now.
Sorry,
That's what
Fancy
it is to me.
Tacos. Just trying to be nice.
I tried to tell them about the monster, but they didn't believe me. They won't believe me about this, I promise you. Please, could you call them, Doctor? Thank you, Doctor. Now give me a pen and I'll write down the details for you. Don't you want to know why Dr. Decker called me the leech lady? He said that I leech thoughts from people, suck them right out of their heads. And I can put thoughts in there too. I'm not that clever though, am I, Doctor? I mean, it's not as if I was having an affair with Ron and Agnes was in the way and needed to disappear. So I made this story up. I mean, what do you think I do for a living anyway? Doctor, you're so good. We're going to get on just fine.
She murdered him. She murdered Agnes. Jasmine was not on that list earlier.
I'm Jasmine. I don't come in that often. What happened to Dr. Decker? Oh. When? How? Sorry, you probably don't know, do you? Ouch.
Ouch,
Didn't really know it that
understatement.
well. I'm trying to remember what I was doing on Valentine's Day now.
No, that was...
When you see a painting, it stands still. When I see one, it's moving, like a mini film, like little vines. But when there's a person,
a vine for a reference.
they watch me, normally disapprovingly.
Well, yeah, I thought I was being observed all the time.
Because they don't think I know how to appreciate art, because I'm too young. When I want them to, normally. When I want to really get inside what's going on. But some paintings, I can't stop. Yes, of course. Otherwise I wouldn't be working in an art gallery. I love art. I love paintings. Like I said, they move for me. I've been working on portraits, at home, outside work. But my paintings aren't so good. Nowhere near Providence standard. I painted a man, Dorian. You know, after Dorian Gray. I wanted to try and capture someone aging, so I divided the face into thirds and painted a boy, his father, and his grandfather in each third. It was hideous. And it started talking to me.
Ooh, talking painting.
That I'm ugly, that I have no talent, nothing will become of me. Is that true, Doctor? I hear it so many times with that wretched painting. It's in my head. But thank you.
Let's see.
He was shy, and then less so. When I told him about my problem, he told me to set fire to it. Yeah, he could have been more specific. I tried to set fire to Providence. At that time, I thought the only way to fix my problem was to set fire to the entire art gallery. Several paintings didn't make it. Luckily, my boss didn't press charges.
Wait,
The police did arrest me, though.
and you weren't fired?
My boss, Petra, she's just lovely like that. Providence has gone through some tough times, and I've only been there a year. She invested her life savings and it's still not making any money. Such a sweet lady. You'd do anything for her. No. Why are you saying that? I don't even know if Petra has insurance. I already ripped up the painting. It screamed as I cut it. And now whenever I close my eyes, I can see it, hear it. I need the tablets, Doctor. I need them.
She is cool.
Dr. Decker told me to burn it. It was nothing to do with Petra. The temazepam, the sleeping tablets. The ones you gave me last time. Who told you to ask that? I honestly don't know. Dr. Decker gave them to me. They helped. I know it's in my head. I know paintings can't talk. What's wrong with me, Doctor? Why do I do this? Thank you, Doctor. I'll think about that. And the prescription, please? We had a display in the gallery based on Love Conquers All, so I had to work. Mainly it was a collection of giant hearts sat on things, but I ran into another patient, Bryce. I'd never really spoken with him before, but he's quite an art critic. I couldn't get rid of him until I finished work at 11. There's actually another guy who takes over on the night shift. I'm not sure if he kept talking to Bryce though. Providence is open 24 hours.
Bryce was in two places.
There's not much to tell. I knew he was a patient here. I'd seen him in the waiting room a couple of times. He likes art and talking and looking down here instead of up here.
Not something I know about.
It's the anniversary of my parents' death today.
Hey,
I
Corey.
went to the lake house. I always go to the lake house anyway, but it's also where they died. I don't know anything about that. Perhaps you should be taking more notes. They died of carbon monoxide poisoning. I was staying at a friend's house. Otherwise, I would have died too.
Maybe, but I'd be more willing to bet that Bryce is lying.
I stood for a while, looking across the water. It's peaceful there. It's the place that makes me feel the most. There was a girl there, by the lake, only about 9 or 10. She was fishing, if you can call it that, with one of those nets on a stick. I don't know why I talked to her. She looked sad. I don't usually talk to children, but she seemed different, special. I'm allowed to talk to her, aren't I, Doctor? There's very little I'm not willing to talk about, Doctor. But I'm afraid I don't know anything about that. Good. It felt nice. I felt like I was being nice. I felt human. So I can find her and talk to her again, Doctor. Then I will. I'll look for her next time I'm there. David had been hunting again, and, well, she's seen some of the skins he hung around the lake house.
Wait, he goes hunting? I thought he was despondent.
Animal skins. David hunts, then skins. It's horrible, really. He's not really good at either job, so the skins still have great lumps of bloody carcass hanging off them. I'm sure he'll get better with practice. David wasn't there. Or at least I didn't see him. I didn't go inside. I forgot my key.
Corey.
The spare was missing.
This game is called The Infectious Madness of Dr. Decker. You are a psychiatrist trying to treat Dr. Decker's patients after he was murdered while also trying to kind of whodunit and solve the murder.
The day Dr. Decker was killed, I had a session with him in the morning at my usual time, 11 o'clock. That was the last time I saw him. Dr. Decker made me an offer that I couldn't refuse. I'll be taking it to the grave with me, though. As did he.
Okay, Claire's suspicion just went up like 20 times.
I don't know. I suppose she just reminded me of me. I spent a lot of time alone as a child. She said she was trying to catch some strange creatures that she's seen in the water. I don't know. Minnows, probably. Everything's strange when you're a child. It was 12 years ago. I was still very young. Too young to be an orphan, anyway. I had to toughen up quickly. Love? Yes. I suppose I always will. Met isn't the right word. David has always been there, in the shadows, on the periphery. I move in very exclusive circles. You tend to see the same faces. I don't move in any circles anymore. Those people were my parents' friends, not mine. Valentine's Day night, I was at the lake house, watching David, like I always do. He has trouble with his mental faculties and is getting worse. Yes.
But you let him go hunting.
I watch him and make sure nothing bad happens. David hunts,
I can change my skin.
then skins.
Dr. Decker dated his patients.
I had a hot date.
We went out for drinks.
I took photos of Jessica.
Dr. Decker did phone
On Valentine's Day.
and ask me for Nathan's number.
There was a girl there.
Am I wrong to keep the locket?
I'm allowed to talk to her, aren't I?
He was preoccupied with finding
Photographs,
patterns.
rocking chair.
I haven't been back to the beach since,
I had a bit of a shaky loop incident.
where I find something
I set fire
beautiful in the sea.
to Hannah's clothes in the garden.
I dug the grave.
I wish I'd said goodbye.
Dr. Decker cursed me.
It didn't weigh enough to have a body in it.
Oh, Doctor, you surprised me. Reminds me of Officer Yates. Did I ever mention I had a special friend in the police force? Nah, it's not something you drop politely into a conversation. He's been doing some digging and he's found a couple things. There's a crime scene report that goes into all the gory details, and another report that's about a patient you're seeing today, Claire. I'll put them both on the desk for you. And thanks for the grief counselling, by the way. It's really been helping, you know. I'm so glad you're here.
Interesting. At 20:40 hours on Tuesday, 8th of November, myself at PC 975 Holt responded to a call received from a neighbor of the Bower House, Weston Park Avenue, concerning a reported disturbance. Arrived at the address and knocked on the door. No reply. We examined the property, gained entry through the secure patio door. That's what those shut in. Did not hear any responses. We searched the premises. Upon hearing the dining room, entering the dining room, I saw a female seated next to a man who was lying on the ground. The man did not appear to be conscious. Both persons were drenched in blood, and there was a substantial amount of blood on the carpet, walls, and furniture. There would appear to be a steak knife on the floor, which was also covered in blood. At this point, I asked the woman to put her hands in the air, which she did. PC Holt secured the female while I checked the man for signs of life, but found none. I asked the woman if she knew her name. She identified herself to me as Claire Castleford. I asked if the woman knew her name. I asked if she knew the dead man, and she said that her husband, David Castleford. What happened? She said that she had killed him. Following a search by PC Holt, which revealed no other persons present in the house, I said to Castleford, at 20:52 hours, you are under arrest on suspicion of murder. I then cautioned her and placed her in the back of the police car for transit to Weston Park Police Station, where I relayed the circumstances of the arrest to PC 2354 Hill, who authorized her paper spike 150 intrusion.
It makes for interesting reading, doesn't it? I can tell you're dying to ask me about it. Fire away. That's what it says. I can see you're confused. The police say that David is dead, fatally wounded when I stabbed him. The coroner says that David is dead. Everyone says that David is dead. There was even a funeral. But I know he's alive.
Ah, delusional. Good to know. She seemed pretty normal so far.
He's buried at Henley Church. You can go see for yourself. There's even a headstone. One of your other patients was a pallbearer. I never forget her face. You should ask him. David wanted to have a talk about our relationship. Not something any married person wants to hear. He said he'd been with Iris for about a year and that he loved her. He said he didn't love me anymore, which I know is a lie. You don't just fall out of love with somebody. I reacted badly.
Obsessed.
I grabbed the nearest weapon I could find, which happened to be the steak knife, and stabbed him with it. There was so much blood. I instantly regretted it. So I fixed him. It was about a week later. I brought David back to life. Not with voodoo, not with virginal sacrifice. I just willed it to happen, and it did.
So topo would
Dr.
be the
Decker
term.
told me it was possible, but only if you're not buried. He says once you're in the ground, there's no coming back. But Until then, you have a chance at resurrection. Yes, resurrection. But now that I've seen the results, I don't think there's anything holy about it. I think reanimation is more an accurate term. Like, I'm an evil necromancer raising things from the dead. I think his brain was already decaying during the week that he was dead. Important bits. So when I brought him back to life, I didn't heal him completely. Just gave him life in the state he was in. I mean, he's hunting and killing things and trying to roast them on fires he can only light with matches, but that's about it. He's your basic Neanderthal. So I have a problem. I'm being charged with murder because the police don't know he's still alive, and I can't get David to vouch for me for obvious reasons. I think it would raise quite a few more questions than answers, which is why I'm hoping that you'd be able to help me. I'm afraid I don't know the answer to that. Considering the circumstances, I'd be grateful if you could see your way to declaring me temporarily insane at the time of the murder, to lessen my sentence. Because I'm not a killer, but I can't prove otherwise. You don't still think I'm a killer, do you, Doctor?
I think she's the killer. Like, I think she is a killer. She's crazy.
At worst, it's manslaughter. I didn't mean to kill him. I just stabbed him a bit. And although he was dead for a week, I brought him back to life. Does this mean you won't help me? Was I temporarily insane? Bryce was a pallbearer for David. He's also a gravedigger, I believe. Smuggling a body out of a funeral can be difficult, unless you pay the right people.
Yeah, this one...
I'm going to pretend that I didn't hear that. Let's have a few more sessions before you seal our fates. Or is it that you want something else? Like Dr. Decker did? Dr. Decker teased me mercilessly about my electability. He didn't believe I'd reanimated David. Once, he presented me with a dead mouse and commanded me to give it life again. I didn't, of course. It's not something I'd throw around lightly. He changed his mind about me eventually. And then he mentioned the girl. Dr. Decker asked if I could prove David wasn't dead, so I took him to the lake house. He saw that I was telling the truth. I can take you to see him too, if you like. Would you like to see David, Doctor? Very well. In our next session. He told me he'd locked up a girl in the basement of his house, just for me, and he asked me to reanimate her. It was Iris. I said I couldn't reanimate something that wasn't dead, and he said that wouldn't be a problem. So I agreed. I just played along. I was hoping it wasn't real. I assumed it wasn't real. But he was offering me what I wanted, a temporary insanity diagnosis. It didn't happen. Dr. Decker called me from his house to cancel. He was furious. He said that Iris had escaped, and he blamed me for it. He said that I must have set her free after he told me about her. I knew it was all lies anyways. He was obviously titillating himself by reprimanding me. He knew I'd never want to speak to Iris again, so I couldn't prove it either way. I've been to the lake house regularly, keeping an eye on David. I saw the girl again, the one I told you about. She was playing outside.
That one looks different than it looked earlier, that painting.
A paper spike is an odd thing to use as a weapon. I suppose if it went directly into the heart, it might work. Or through his eye, or perhaps through the ear into his brain. Or was it just a frenzied, bloody mess of a murder? Do you know, Doctor? How astute, Doctor. Yes, I did say I hadn't seen Dr. Decker outside of our sessions. That wasn't a lie. Our trip to the lake house was made during a session. You tell me. What could possibly explain that? Since I brought him back, I felt that there was something different about him, something not quite right. I think it's his brain. But how ludicrous that you can bring someone back in the first place. It's like that book, Pet Cemetery. Funnily enough, he does smell of earth, but that's because he spends most of his time out hunting. If David doesn't exist, then that means that I really did kill him. He really is buried, and I really should be going to prison for a very long time. That just doesn't seem right to me. It's more probable that I reanimated him under Dr. Decker's guidance.
Wait, under Dr. Decker's guidance. She's...
I assure you, David is not a ghost. I've touched him. I didn't speak to her this time. Something about her made me feel uneasy. I just watched her from the bedroom window. She'd caught a fish. She was holding it in her hands. I wasn't close enough to see, but for all intents and purposes, it looked as if the fish bit her. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Once I caught a fish alive.
So, child limerick.
I'm actually a classically trained pallbearer. There are a lot of health and safety considerations. Not everybody can do it. Well, properly at least. Occasionally I step in if the funeral director is short-shouldered. I do remember her face. She wasn't upset in the usual way. She seemed agitated. Her husband must have been a giant. The coffin was so heavy. I remember because aft port side sprained his ankle. That and he wasn't lifting correctly. I have absolutely no idea what you're talking about, Doctor. I saw Claire Castleford's husband in the coffin myself before carrying him to the grave. He is in the ground. I'm sure it wouldn't take much for the police to get an order to have him exhumed. Just make sure it's done on Tuesday morning when I'm off. I spied on Dr. Decker not long before he was murdered. I'm not sure I should tell you what I saw in his basement.
Ah, he found Iris.
I'd been feeling uneasy with Dr. Decker for some time. I mentioned how he'd changed before, so I began spying on him at home. One night, the basement door was open, and Decker was returning upstairs. I skipped past him, and there she was, a girl. It was difficult to tell. It was dark, and she was chained. I removed the chains, dressed her, and sat her in the police
Hey,
station.
Decaf, welcome here.
There's no evidence, though. No evidence of what he'd done. But she was free. I saved her. I'm not evil. I destroyed evil. Hello, Doctor. I've been thinking about our last session, and I just wanted you to know that I'm not a bad person. I know taking naked photographs is wrong, but you don't know what it's like until you face the same temptation. I'm assuming you don't know what it's like. Do you have an extra hour, Doctor? Thank God for that. There's someone else in my hour.
I still think it's Claire,
I did figure.
Fancy Tacos, because he's...
Watching me and following me. I followed it too. Whatever it is that's following me, it doesn't want to catch me yet. If I move towards it, it runs away. And when I follow it past temptations. A bar brawl, an open till, an open bedroom window. Like it's testing me.
Yeah, it's a bit of a whodunit, Decaf, a bit of you're playing therapist.
I don't know who it is. My initial thought was that it was you. That I told you about my affliction and somehow you'd got it too. Now I think maybe it's the military or some organization that wants to use the hour themselves. Maybe it's Dr. Decker risen from the dead. I need to talk to you about him.
Well, that's what he would say, isn't it? That's not relevant here.
I'm surprised I haven't been approached earlier. I mean, my skills in the military. Special ops would be a breeze, wouldn't it? Waltz in past everyone during the midnight hour, get whatever you want, and return to friendly soil. It also makes me think that they might already know all of that, and that they want to get rid of me in case I tell anyone else. Would you do something for me if they get me? I split the brawl up. I did nothing. I'm not stealing any more. I looked in. Watching other people is somehow built into our genes, Doctor. There was an old woman in bed. I went inside. Her bed covers were smoking. I think she'd fallen asleep holding a cigarette. I took the covers and put them in the bath. She'd have died otherwise. And no, I didn't take any pictures.
Without his camera, he's a lot more agitated. Yeah.
Would you tell Jessica I love her? She didn't really know me that well, but I did love her. And also, there's a hard drive in the bottom drawer of my drinks cabinet. Please destroy it. Please, don't look at it. There's a hard drive with all the pictures I've ever taken on it. The one in the bottom drawer of my drinks cabinet. Don't let Jessica see it. Dr. Decker frequently used that paper spike on his desk as an example. I'm sure he did it with the other patients too. He'd make me look at it, touch the point to see how sharp it was. He'd tell me that because I think it's sharp, it will hurt me. But if I thought it was nothing, it could pass right through my hand. I find using nautical terms to describe the position of pallbearers fitting. Plus, most of them are 3 sheets to the wind. You know, drunk.
Ah.
I put my hand through a rusty nail at work today. It hurt like hell and bled like I'd been shot. I closed my eyes and thought, this isn't happening. The nail is just a worm and it will wriggle through me. When I looked back, can you guess what I saw?
A hole in your hand?
When I looked back at my hand, it was healed. Look, see? Jessica is a beautiful woman. I've not spied on her since the incident we talked about. I have real feelings for her, Doctor. We've
Fancy tacos. It's a term for drunk.
connected. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you. It's nice you think I'm capable of such basic interaction with females. But I'm still in awe of her, really. I will think about it, though.
He would make a really good sympathetic villain.
My hand had healed. The nail had become a worm and was wriggling in my palm. It was like a little miracle. Like magic. I shouldn't really say miracle or magic. They're words that Dr. Decker used when he tried to get you to think things and make them real. But do you think it's real, Doctor? That magic is real? Then so it is. Close your eyes. Imagine you're in a graveyard, looking at the gravestones. One catches your eye. So you take a picture of it. A picture that you now have.
Oh, I thought I answered. I'm sorry.
Professor Warwick, I'm a physicist. Where's Dr. Decker? Is he really? Actually dead? Not a worthy adversary after all, then?
What are you on about?
Dr. Decker challenged me. He tried to use my theories against me. Quantum theories.
Okay.
Do you really want to know? Decker's eyes used to glaze over whenever we talked about that. He didn't believe in quantum physics. As if it's something that you can optionally believe in.
Trust me, buddy. People optionally believe in everything.
Have you heard of quantum suicide, Doctor? Perhaps ask me something physics related? Well, then I'll be brief. According to the laws of quantum suicide, if I were to shoot myself now, then one branch of my timeline would result in my death, whilst the other in my continued existence. I simply applied that logic to something different. Gambling. I set up an experiment whereby I would visit a casino and place a very large bet at the roulette table. Now, I would always bet on odd. Now, the results of this particular experiment were mundane. I won as many times as you would expect according to the laws of probability. But then, I changed a parameter. Quantum suicide required a loss of life to make it a realistic thought experiment. So I simply upped the stakes. Every time I bet on odd, I would place everything I had on that one spin of the wheel, and it worked. Well, for a while.
So he's a gambling addict.
Why not gambling? My wife Vanessa left me for a neurosurgeon. She emptied our entire combined wealth into her barrister's wallet. I needed more money. Physics provided me with a solution. We were married for 14 years, 7 months, and 3 days. Vanessa couldn't have children, at least that's what she told me. She grounded me in reality.
4 more hours, Fancy Tacos, and a donut shop opens.
It's probably what I needed. But part of me always thought that one day I'd achieve immortality through science and we'd be... It wasn't to be, though. Well, yes, it bothered me, especially now that I find out that she's pregnant. Oh, no, it wasn't a rocket scientist that was required, but a brain surgeon, it seems. I have considered putting that neurosurgeon onto his darkest timeline, but I'm not a killer, it would seem.
It would seem. That means you've tried.
Dr. Decker killed it, and I can't get it back. Well, my theory, quantum gambling. If the stakes are high enough, you will win every time by simply shifting your consciousness into that branch that wins. It's tricky, but it can be done. Dr. Decker didn't like that. He saw me becoming rich and powerful, and he hated that. That's why he proffered the hangman's paradox.
Ah.
Honestly? Well, I think he feared quantum physics. He didn't like things being explained in terms of science, almost as if he'd have preferred chaos.
Interesting choice of words, given previous knowledge.
Well, imagine a judge sentences you to death. Now, it will be Monday or Tuesday next week, but it will be a surprise. Well, which day do you think you'll be executed? Well, Monday does seem likely, yes. Because if you're still alive on Monday at midnight, then Tuesday won't be a surprise. But if you're sure that it's Monday, then that won't be a surprise either, will it? Decker tricked me. He told me that sometime in the future I would lose a bet, that I would lose all of my money. Now, this didn't seem likely because I had quantum gambling on my side and it was working. But he unnerved me. He made me doubt myself. And then it happened. Recently, I lost everything that I'd managed to build up since Vanessa left me.
He has alcohol. I'm assuming that's alcohol.
I was at a fundraiser for a charity called Mind Stretch Outreach. Don't know how I got roped into that, I can't remember. But it was full of very clever children with bizarre outlooks on life. And Jaya. It was Jaya who asked me to go.
Okay.
Oh, she's Dr. Decker's lovely assistant. I imagine she's your lovely assistant now. Yeah, she always smiles and makes me a cup of tea before a session. That smile. Which reminds me, my session. Can we talk about my problem now? It's full of poor kids with very capable minds. I did give them a talk on quantum tunneling once, and they loved it. Not sure it'll put dinner on the table for any of them, though.
I don't know everything. I know most things, but not everything. I'm fine. I'm ready for my grief counselling. I emailed you Mariana's address. I don't know why you'd want it. I suppose you're going to start doing home visits now, like Dr. Decker?
I'm gonna come back to her.
Oh, you're going to have to Google that, Doctor, I'm afraid. I'm not a walking Wikipedia. I'd love to tell you, but I am paying you by the hour. Maybe look up Schrodinger's cat whilst you're there. I'm not a gambler, Doctor. I'm a scientist. I need more money. It's true I've run out of money for my research. An opportunity has arisen. A very wealthy group of individuals have offered to pay me a very large sum of money if I attend their next private soiree. They don't want a talk or anything like that. They want a practical demonstration. Quantum gambling. It's a pet project. It's got nothing to do with work. But if I don't have significant amounts of money to lose, then there won't be enough jeopardy for the experiment to work. They'll pay me £1 million if I can successfully survive 6 rounds of Russian roulette. Now, I am worried because of what Dr. Decker said, but, well, I can't help but thinking that the stakes are so high I can't possibly lose. What do you think, Doctor? Should I take them up on their offer? No. No, I suppose you're right. In a darker timeline, you probably said yes, and I'm dead now. I earn good money where I work. How do I stop losing it? Well, the Ministry of Defense, of course. Guns aren't going to win the next war. Quantum physics is.
Interesting.
I take your point. But I suppose to decide whether to continue gambling or to stop gambling is a gamble within itself, isn't it? Well, my time is up. Will we be having another session or... No, don't answer that. It'll turn you into a gambler like me. Infectious. Isn't it?
Interesting choice of words. Oh, he full on left the list. That's interesting. The paintings are definitely different now. They've changed orders since yesterday.
Doctor, if you don't want it, don't text me and ask for it. It's all right. I don't mind doing menial tasks for you. Someone has to do them. Yes, Dr. Decker started doing home visits for Mariana. He said she couldn't concentrate properly in his office. I hope you're not thinking of doing the same thing. I need you right where I can see you.
To refresh my memory, I think I know who Mariana is. Yep, okay.
Grief is such a strange word if you keep saying it. Grief. It sounds like somebody's being whipped. And you're going to ask me how I feel today? I I think that's all settled now. We are agreeing to pay Ben £5,000 and he's agreeing not to say anything about what he saw.
Okay, that's good.
He thought he saw a creature coming out of Dr. Decker's mouth. Well, at least that's the reason he's given for not emptying the bins that night. Either way, it's not the kind of publicity that we need. Shiny, happy, sane people.
Sane people in a game with a Lovecraft tag. She has a bruise on her leg.
Checks and balances, Doctor. Somebody needs to be watching the watchman, so to speak. Make sure you're helping, not hindering. He probably did his fair share of helping and hindering. He was definitely helping in the beginning, but then seemed to lose sight of things. I think he was so overwhelmed by the patients he was getting. His curiosity just got the better of him. There was a definite turning point. Somewhere around the time Professor Alderby turned up, that seemed to unsettle him. And then we had a flood of extra weird patients. I think it was all too much for him. I think I misjudged him. I hope you deal with it better. It's in that police report that I gave to you. You should really take a look at it. Some mornings I come into work and still expect him to be here. Sometimes it feels like he actually is here, watching over me. We had a connection. It's gone now, though. You can't have a connection with the dead, can you? Not for too long, anyway.
Not for...
Dr. Decker asked me to have dinner with him for Valentine's. I refused, obviously, because you don't sleep where you eat or something like that. But it was flattering, especially with
Decaf, get some rest.
Mariana around.
It's okay.
Sorry, I didn't mean I was competing. I was happy Mariana was going out with him. I didn't want to be romantic with him. We had a stronger connection than that. Dr. Decker and I shared some philosophy. We'd both read The Cult of the Kinetic Mind, and we agreed with a lot of what it said. Have you read that book, Doctor? I don't know. In Cult of the Kinetic Mind, the author suggests that everyone is capable of psychokinesis and that the cult leaders specifically had these powers that turned their followers into disciples. It's not a fun read, but if you're into psychology, it's a blast.
Ah, yes, a psychiatrist. I am definitely not into psychology.
Psychokinesis is the ability to change the physical world without actually touching it, just by using your mind. It's not just about bending spoons. It covers all sorts of things like telepathy, telekinesis, telesabalas. Shoot me, I'm a Kojak fan. Like I said, all those cool things are in Cult of the Kinetic Mind, apart from Kojak, obviously. If you ever get a patient who thinks they can change the world with just their mind, then duck, just in case they can. But seriously, do a whole load of shrinking and make them better. Whether you believe in psychokinesis or not, you'll need to figure out your approach with those that do. No, not at all in my experience. Dr. Decker had an unusual number of patients who claimed psychokinesis. Either he'd been specifically looking for them or someone had been sending them. It's entirely possible that someone is targeting this practice with psychokinetic patients. To what end, I don't know. It's no coincidence that most psychokinetic patients are diagnosed as insane, or at least temporarily insane. It's a handy diagnosis if you're facing criminal prosecution, especially if it's for murder.
Ah, Claire.
How do you make people who think they have special powers better? Do you remain passive and support, encourage them, take them away? That's what I'd try to do. I was at home on my lonesome, Doctor, like I said before. Oops, that was a strange thing to say, wasn't it? Whipped. Am I all whips and chains in the bedroom or dominant in the boardroom? Don't answer that, it's not a question. It's early days for a harassment suit yet, what with Ben's nervous shock already. Honestly, I think Dr. Decker had a bit of a crush on Mariana, or vice versa. I'm not really sure. There's some footage from their home sessions if you want to see them. That was a joke, Doctor. I guess we found our level.
Okay.
I didn't really speak to Nathan that much at all, but I have this strange feeling that I know him really well. I can't quite put my finger on it. Dr. Decker did send me to see his mother once. She was dying in a nursing home and he didn't want to see her. I remember him calling her a manipulative, evil old hag. You tend not to ask any more questions after that.
I'm okay, I suppose.
She doesn't
Work's
have the
fine. Hilda's fading fast.
doesn't have the locket on.
Terry's Terry. I feel a bit sad, to be honest. I gave all my keepsakes back.
Okay, yeah.
Well, I thought about it, and well, I know you said it was okay that I should keep them, but maybe it did look a bit suspicious. Me having things that have belonged to patients who've died in my care. I don't want people to get the wrong idea about me. The locket, the watch, the ring, even the little bird Sarah Decker gave me.
Sarah
I
Decker?
wasn't supposed to mention her. Dr. Decker's mother. She was one of my first patients, but she died a while ago. I know it's silly, but those things meant a lot to me. They were reminders that I'd helped those people. Terry seems to have backed down since I gave the keepsakes back. Actually, it doesn't seem like she's been very well. Not her usual self. Maybe she's got a bug or something. Hilda's nearing the end. She's been sleeping a lot, not eating much. She hasn't been that argumentative either. Although, she did give me a vicious scratch yesterday. It was nothing. I was just trying to give her meds. It's hard, you know? I'm trying to help her, but she keeps fighting me. It'll be better after she's seen her daughter. I've decided I'm going to do it tonight. She hasn't got much time left. You know the answer to that, Doctor. What have we been talking about? What can I do for Hilda that will make it all better? That's the plan. I know, it sounds unbelievable, like I'm making it up. I wish I could prove it to you somehow. We could try shifting now. Think of someone you really love. It might help if you close your eyes. Are you thinking of them? Can you picture them? Okay, hold on. Sorry, I don't think it's gonna work. On the bright side, that probably means you're not gonna die anytime soon.
There was something weird around her eyes.
It's tricky. I mean, I'll sound exactly like Hilda's daughter, but I try and keep it vague because I don't become her. I don't know what she would really say. I say things like, "It's okay, don't be scared, I love you, Mum," or "I love you, Dad." But it doesn't really matter what their relationship's like because it's not really them. I always do the Disney version. The best, most loving version. That's what my patients want to hear. And maybe deep down they know it's not the truth, but it's got to be better than the reality. Does it really matter if it isn't the truth? Isn't it worth it if it brings them peace? Tell me honestly, Doctor, do you really think that what I'm doing is wrong? So you're saying I should let Hilda die without seeing her daughter one last time? I don't know if I could do that, Doctor. I'd be letting her down. I'd have to think about it. It's true then. I'd heard Dr. Decker was stabbed, but I didn't know for sure. It's weird that whoever did it would choose the paper spike.
Why is that weird?
Dr. Decker used to play with it in our sessions sometimes. You know, pick it up, handle it while we talked. I remember once, he pushed the spike through his skin. At this bit, here, between his thumb and his finger. He said he didn't think I'd mind the sight of blood being a nurse and all that, but actually, there wasn't any.
That's...
I was a bit freaked out. At first, I thought it was a trick. A magic trick, you know? Like some kind of therapeutic test. Show the patient this retractable spike and see how they react. But it wasn't. The spike was real. Dr. Decker gave me the paper spike to try. It wasn't fake. It was pretty sharp, actually. I don't know how he did it. He said he just thought that it wouldn't hurt him, so it didn't. It just makes things complicated, doesn't it? I knew Dr. Decker's mother before I started seeing Dr. Decker. She's dead, and now he's dead. I'm sure you're going to have a field day with it.
Well, I'm gonna take note of that.
Yeah, that's the reason I came to see him. I knew she was dying, but he refused to talk to me unless I booked a session, so I did. And well, here we are. I told Dr. Decker that his mum was dying, that he should see her before it's too late. But he wasn't interested. It wasn't like he hated her. It was just like it wasn't important. He asked me to take care of it for him. He did send his assistant along to see her once. Sorry, your assistant. As far as I know, it only works on people who are close to death. That's the whole point of it. I have to hold their hand, and they have to think of the person, and they have to be near death. And those seem to be the 3 criteria.
We'll hang a knife over my head. Let's do it again.
It was about the 2nd, 3rd session we had. He said he could tell that I was a good person, that I wanted to help people, and that I should think really hard about how I could do that. That's how I discovered shifting.
Okay, observation. Decker seems to be able to force powers out of people.
Encouraged me to think. But the shifting, that's all me. And my mum's a psychic, and my sister's an empath, but I was just ordinary. I always felt like I wasn't special, like I was missing out. But I wasn't. I just hadn't discovered what I could do yet. Sarah Decker was one of the first ones I tried shifting for. I didn't really know what I was doing that first time. I mean, I didn't actually expect anything to happen. I just thought, what would really help this woman? I thought maybe she would just imagine that he was there. But it actually happened. I changed into him, Dr. Decker. It blew my mind. To tell you the truth, I don't really know what an empath is. I should probably Google it sometime. My mum's got these spirit guides and they tell her things. Mostly about my love life, it would seem.
I'm okay. Thanks for asking. It's rent day, and I always feel a little blue on rent day. Rent day is the day I pay rent to my landlady.
Okay, that was kind of self-explanatory. Me.
I've had no blackouts, and I haven't been to the beach since our last session. But I think I will today. Do you want to come with me to the beach? Doctor, I think you're getting a little anxious. If you ever wanted to visit the beach, you can just turn up. It's not mine. You've got a good memory, Doctor. Let's talk dreams. Sometimes I'll dream about a light, deep in the ocean somewhere. I head towards it because it's warm and glowing, like a beacon. When I'm at the bottom, it's the most beautiful thing, like a welcoming sun, like I'm home. And then I wake up. It's so beautiful. It calls me. It's like I'm in a trance. What does the dream mean, Doctor?
I'm no psychoanalyst.
I guess. I hate being in the same place for too long. Maybe I'm always searching for paradise or something. Dr. Decker used to put my checks on that thing. I guess someone thought they weren't getting value for money. I actually don't have a lot of money. Sometimes a therapy check would bounce, but Dr. Decker would be okay with it. Oh, my checks are fine though, don't worry. I'm not broke. Men buy me drinks at bars though. Sometimes I'll get away with not paying at restaurants. Isn't that how it is for everybody?
you sweet child.
I mainly like drive-thrus. I don't like crowds, and I find it difficult to stay in the same place for too long.
But you go clubbing.
I guess I'm a fidget. Crowds at nightclubs and bars are different. The lights are dim. You can slink around without attracting too much attention. Sometimes I'll kiss a guy in a club, and then he just follows me wherever I go. It's creepy. I don't want everyone seeing that. They follow me wherever I go. Anywhere. Where do you think they follow me, Doctor? It depends where they follow me. If they follow me home, they bang on the door for an hour or so, then leave. Other places, they just disappear. I don't see them again. They don't just disappear into thin air. I think they return to the place I found them. But I've not run into the same person twice.
Killing them.
Yes, Doctor, sometimes they follow me to the beach, and the next thing I remember, I'm blacked out. And naked. Shivering in the sand. Who knows what happened to them? It's just good manners to accept when someone offers to buy you a drink. I'm a very good-natured girl. Yes, they follow me home. They're silent. It's like a trance. There was one guy, a real gym body. I let him into the bedroom, but nothing. Nothing I did would stop him just staring at me. It was creepy. I got him to follow me outside, and then I just shut the door. Don't you think I'm sweet, Doctor?
Yeah, that's true.
I think you're falling for me, Doctor.
Oh,
Don't let that get in the way of helping me.
strange.
Are we still talking about him? And I thought you were just interested in me, Doctor. Dr. Decker suggested home visits. I think he was probably checking up on his investment. You're not thinking of doing home visits, are you, Doctor? That's good. I'm not sure I can afford any more of your time.
I burned the photos of Hannah. It didn't work. I suppose because the loss was superficial. The next thing I burned was the rocking chair. That worked. I've been getting rid of her stuff ever since. There was a day when I attacked a Salvation Army bin, but I gave in. I accidentally put Hannah's diary into a Salvation Army donation bin. They're like huge post boxes with a circular tray that makes sure things spill to the bottom. I tried to get in to get it back, but I gave up. I read the last few weeks of Hannah's diary a while ago. I must have accidentally dropped in some clothes for the Salvation Army bin. It's funny, because I wasn't going to read it. She said she'd fallen out of love with me, that she was going to break off the engagement, that she didn't love me anymore.
Poor Nathan.
I regretted it. I regretted that I mourned for Hannah so long. I regret the grief. I regret all the days I slept because of it. Had I known she didn't love me anymore, things would have been different. I'm a bit angry now. If I had that day over again, I may just still pull out in front of the driver.
Now.
Can we maybe not talk about Hannah anymore? And thanks for the dating advice, by the way. You told me not to look for anyone else until I was ready, so I didn't. I've just been sitting at home, reading Hannah's diary, stewing. I ordered a pizza. A nice girl delivered it. I've told you all I know about Dr. Decker. He started out good, then turned a bit crazy towards the end. When you start giving people more problems as a therapist, that's a bit crazy. I started out with depression. Now I seem to repeat days. Even if you don't believe the repeat days, then I clearly have extra mental health problems that he's given me.
See, that's 100% correct.
I think that he possibly cursed other people, a bit like he cursed me. Sometimes you could see he was bursting to tell me about it, but he couldn't. He was ecstatic with power. The curse. Well remembered. I was hoping he'd forget. It's going to sound crazy. Dr. Decker said I would never be able to move forward until I came to terms with my grief. And so from this point on, I start to relive the same day over and over again until I made something of it. I believed him. I didn't want to believe him. I remember I said, you can't just say things and they happen. He laughed and laughed. I think he was going mad. He said he'd give me a demonstration.
You know, I keep thinking, going back to this term, I think it's from DePaul, it's called a tulpa. It's like if you believe in something enough, it becomes real. Like, stupid example, Warhammer 40k orcs. They believe red makes a vehicle go faster, or anything. So if they paint it red, it goes faster.
He held his hand outstretched and told me to look at the flame. There was no flame, and then there was. He was holding a flame in his hand that had come out of nowhere. And he tried to hypnotize me to make me forget it. I didn't forget seeing the flame. He wanted me to forget it all, but I didn't. For whatever reason, he couldn't undo what he'd done. I was scared. I pretended like the hypnosis had worked. He'd become bored of me, so I got much of my insight from calls or messages he'd take during our sessions. I think because he hypnotized me, he didn't want to play with me anymore, so I got basic therapist. He told me lots of people get depression, to become more active, see more people. And although he wouldn't always be there to listen, Jaya would be.
Offloading to your assistant, yeah, you should have quit.
Yeah, I talked to her quite a lot. I'm not sure how many days of that she'd remember. She seemed to care, which is more I can say for Decker.
She mentioned earlier, I don't think she remembered of the days.
I didn't notice Dr. Decker had a paper spike. I haven't really seen more than a foot in front of me since Hannah died. I was scared what Dr. Decker would do to me if he found out I still knew, so I had to play along, keep coming to the sessions, pretend I hadn't seen what he'd done. It was awful, because I was suffering through the same days over and over again, but I couldn't talk to him about it, because he'd know.
I didn't really speak to Nathan that much at all, but I have this strange feeling that I know him really well. I can't quite put my finger on it.
Okay, so I kind of asked her out of order.
You can stop looking at me like that. You've made me do this. And don't try and escape. You're all tied up. Now tell me the truth. Is this a dream? That's the wrong answer, Doctor. This is most definitely a dream. Now, tell me, do you believe that people can have kinetic powers? And how do we treat people with kinetic powers? Do we encourage them or do we discourage them? Very good, Doctor. That's the right answer. Remember it, or there will be consequences. Now, since I'm here, let's have a little bit of fun. Shall we, Doctor?
Well then.
There's someone else in my hour.
I brought David back to life.
I removed the chains, dressed her.
It was Iris.
We could try shifting now.
Would you like to see David, Doctor?
Sorry.
We both read The Cult of the Kinetic Mind.
I'm not broke.
It's no coincidence that most psychokinetic patients are
Grateful if you could see your way to declaring me
insane, or at least
temporarily insane.
There was no flame. And then there was.
I'll kiss a guy,
I pretended like the hypnosis had worked.
and then he just follows me
Can we maybe not talk about Hannah anymore?
wherever I go.
I may just still pull out in front of the driver.
Morning, Doctor. You're looking a bit unwell. Are they getting you all wound up? Well, have a look at this. I found it in Dropbox. Apparently, Dr. Decker lent Mariana some money. Sounds dodgy, doesn't it? I also got the toxicology report back from Officer Yates, and shocker, Dr. Decker had... Sorry, you just have to read it. I should have spoiler alert tattooed on my forehead. And can we not do the grief counselling thing today? I'm all sorts of behind on work, and I'm getting more stressed out watching it all pile up.
She looks tired. Bed
If
raggle.
you need anything, though, I'm here.
He lent me some money to start my business. It was a proper agreement. I remember signing things. He thought that a distraction would do me good. I don't think he expected me to trawl the beach for treasure and sell it online.
Her signature is strange. Okay, so he had a ton of ethanol in his system. It Timzepam. Dr. Decker's gravestone doesn't have a death date. Dr. Decker was born in 1875?
What's temazepam? Why are you asking? Dr. Decker prescribed me some temazepam once, but I never used them. I probably still have them if you want them back. You reminded me the sleeping pills were called temazepam. I'm not trying to hide anything, Doctor. I'll look for them when I get home. I may have given some away at a nightclub.
Bad.
You can get a buzz, if you know what you're doing.
I imagine alcohol.
I have this recurring dream. I'm at the beach. I strip and walk into the sea. The sea feels warm and comforting. Not cold and harsh like you'd think. I swim down to the bottom of the ocean. I can breathe freely. I can breathe water. On the ocean floor ahead of me, there's a beautiful creature. A glowing being with wispy limbs. It's so warm. I'm transfixed. But my feet shift. I'm unsteady. Below me, the floor is woven in human flesh. Dead bodies, but some of them still struggling for life. These are the ones touching me, gripping my feet. I scream. That's when I wake up. Do you have that dream, Doctor? It's horrific and beautiful at the same time. It's a dream, Doctor. Stranger things happen in dreams. Dr. Decker thought I had too much time on my hands, so a distraction would do me good. He lent me $15,000, all in all. Do you forget anything from our sessions, Doctor? People follow me to the beach. I don't know who they are, and I don't know what happens to them. I don't always get followed, though, so it doesn't explain my blackouts. Dr. Decker kept a bottle of whiskey, or maybe gin. I'm not sure. It was in his desk at all times, and when things got a little intense, he'd pour himself a glass. It's obviously an effect I have on people.
Driving people to drink?
I said I don't know what happens to them. It's not always to the beach. Sometimes they follow me home. My home is in Chantry. You know that. You rang my doorbell last night. I don't know. I didn't kiss you, but you just followed me, like the others. I don't feel comfortable here, Doctor. I'd like to leave. I feel thirsty, Doctor. And hot. Do you have any water? I've been drinking a lot of water recently. I didn't go to the beach. I didn't go to the sea. I said I would, but I didn't. I've been feeling this way for a while. It's like it's getting worse because I didn't go to the sea. It's like I'm having... I don't feel well. I feel sick most of the time, dizzy, thirsty. I got a head fog like you wouldn't believe. My doctor, Dr. Rose, sent me for blood tests. Dr. Rose thinks maybe I have a vitamin deficiency. I can tell she has no idea. She smiles, but she hasn't got any answers. I think I probably need to go back to the beach. The sea, Doctor. It's calling me. This sounds crazy, but I can hear the sea. It's like an alarm going off in my head. Do you know where the sea is? From here? It's over there. Wherever I am, I know exactly where the sea is. It's like a compass. I hear a sound like singing, calling me. It gets stronger when I face it, when I move towards it. That's how I know where the sea is. But when I don't go to the sea, I feel like the sound gets louder all the time. I'm having trouble sleeping. Perhaps I need sleeping tablets after all. It's a referral letter, Doctor. Don't overthink it. A girl can't be too careful with everything that's been going on. He's the cute, sad-looking one, isn't he? He asked me out, and I said I'd let him know. Do you think I should go out with him? Wow. So you think I spiked his drink and killed him with a paper spike? Nice. Wouldn't you like to know? I'm not hiding anything. It's just a game, Doctor. I like playing games. If you say so, it must have been your twin then.
Okay, that's a little unnerving, just the choice of words.
I don't know if I have a twin. Do you have a twin, Doctor? You're teasing me, Doctor. But it was you. I saw you. No, there's been no dancing. I haven't been feeling that well, Doctor. You said it with such a serious look on your face, I almost believed you. It would be good if you had some kind of superpower that helped me, but I don't think so. Doctor, I didn't take you for the jealous type. Are you feeling a bit jealous?
No, it's just super unprofessional.
That answer would have a lot more weight if you stopped coming around my house.
I'm feeling good. I ran into one of your other patients, Mariana. She's beautiful. I think we might go on a date. Temazepam is the same sleeping pill Dr. Decker prescribed me.
Everybody has
Exposed with
temazepam?
alcohol. People are such idiots. Which reminds me, that truck driver died. Alcohol isn't something I usually notice on people until they're slurring and weaving around. Was Dr. Decker an alcoholic? Probably. I never saw him drink, though. The truck driver that ran into Hannah. He was divorced, apparently. He killed himself. He mixed sleeping pills with alcohol, too. But he died in his garage. I read it in the paper. He'd been drinking. Then he took the sleeping pills. Then he went into his garage and put the hose pipe through his window.
Started the car suffocated.
Not until he put his daughter in the seat first. It's one of those newspaper stories you read and you hope it says he leaves behind his wife and 7-year-old daughter. But his daughter was in the car. Do you know, I wrote him a letter. Dr. Decker told me one of the ways to get through my grief would be to write a letter to the truck driver. I tried to forgive him. I know it was my fault, but the thing that made me feel best was blaming him. I think maybe he killed himself because of me. Do you think I'm to blame, Doctor? His daughter's picture was in the paper. Molly. Ever since I saw a picture in the paper, I've started thinking I could see her, out of the corner of my eye, like she's watching me. Crazy, right?
Okay, that's creepy.
What are you trying to do most? Cure his patients or find out who killed him? It's been nice chatting with you, don't get me wrong, but I can't help but feel you're mainly interested in finding out about the old doctor. I suppose you already know Dr. Decker thought one of his patients was trying to kill him. He told me in one of our sessions, which was later rewound, that someone had been leaving him messages on his prescription pad. Not good messages. He didn't tell me anything specifically, just death threats. It was one of his many rants. I just sat there quietly, hoping he wasn't going to try and hypnotize me again. I asked him if it was a boy or a girl's handwriting. He said he knew who it was, and that they'd be in trouble. I think he was bluffing. Please do. I wish I could believe you. I can't really explain it, but she seems like such a friendly person. I think the police are barking up the wrong tree. I think I've probably said too much. It's probably not there anyway.
Zelda Gamer, thank you for the raid. Oh, okay.
The ship just to a hole. Oh, jeez. Look at these terrible pirates. It's just the ship goes creak. ever get in the car with y'all. Look at
My solicitors assured me that I wouldn't have to discuss anything about my trial with you, so I'm not going to. Concentrate on my state of mind, and let me worry about other things.
I don't take sleeping tablets, never have. I'm not allowed to prescribe either. Dr. Decker had me try to forge his signature once, but I was woeful.
So yeah, this is called The Infectious Madness of Dr. Decker, where we are both playing psychiatrist and like rudimentary detective.
Some people would say Dr. Decker had a bit of a drinking problem. It got worse and then it got better when his confidence turned up. I think it was the stress of dealing with the new patients. I like the odd tipple. I don't want to talk about grief today. I'm getting enough grief from work. I don't know if you know, but Professor Alderby used to be my professor. He teaches history and psychology, amongst other things. I know it's not technically work, but he asked if I would allow him to have the video footage of his sessions with Dr. Decker. Dr. Decker wanted to be removed from all of the videos, so it's jump cut up to jump cut, but I'm sure you've already noticed that. I didn't think you'd mind, since it wasn't your case anyway. Mostly it's the professor talking about how he viewed reality back then, in so much as he thought it was changeable. There's nothing else to do but watch while things are encoding. I've been known to drink, not as much at the moment, not as much as Dr. Decker did. He kept at least one bottle in his desk drawer at all times. You can't imagine the amount of times I wanted to sneak in and have some. I suppose it's possible that somebody spiked his drink. Most people probably knew he had a bottle in his desk. Wouldn't have been that hard to empty out some capsules into it. Maybe the police should get fingerprints? I'll go and suggest it. Make sure nobody touches the bottle in the meantime. Psychokinetics, remember? Cult of the Kinetic Mind? Professor Alderby said it was recommended reading to help psychiatrists in their frontline battle with insanity, he likes to call it. Professor Alderby saw the relationship between psychiatrist and patient as a winnable battle. The patient must be cured by removing their psychokinetic ability, if present, either by telling them it doesn't exist or by using another psychokinetic ability to negate it. It's a long time ago, I can't remember all of it. There was a specific example. If someone tells you they can fly, you tell them you control air currents and that from now on they won't be allowed to use them. This would normally stimulate the brain in such a way that the patient stopped thinking they could fly. The main danger as the therapist is believing that you can control air currents. The danger of pretending you have psychokinetic abilities is that you may start believing you have them and then have them. It's the paradox of the cure. Dr. Decker loved paradoxes. His favourite was the grandfather paradox. If you can travel back in time and kill your grandfather, then you cannot be born. But if you cannot be born, then you cannot kill your grandfather. It's a time traveler's chicken and egg, if you will. I have no idea. Maybe he was an undercover secret agent. Maybe he was getting more annoying as time progressed. You're not, though. You're lovely. Is this a good time to ask for a raise? Wow, I was kidding, but thank you, Doctor. I'll take that as a yes. And don't worry, I'll sort it all out.
Yeah, cut your own paycheck. That's fine.
Dr. Decker definitely dabbled in that stuff. I'm not sure to what extent.
I wish between levels, we could go to like Dr. Decker's office and read.
I like Professor Alderby. He turned me onto that book I've been raving about. Dr. Decker told me he was adopted. His birth mother only turned up 5 years ago because she wanted money for her experimental cancer treatment. I'm not sure how much it cost or even if he had the money, but he didn't do it, and she became one mean mother. The cult of the kinetic mind. I should start selling them myself.
Thought you were at this point.
There's a lot of stress in here. We're dealing with people's lives. How do you relax, Doctor? I love video games. I just wish they'd make ones with stronger female protagonists. Sorry, I'd settle for any female protagonists.
Deal list later.
I bet you like dance music. I don't know why. I love food. It will be my downfall. Stress eating is the worst.
Yes.
Mariana thought I played hockey. Whatever that's supposed to mean.
Nope.
I feel that, Corey.
Sorry, I'm Glenn. I didn't expect to be here. I was looking for the men's room. Like I said, I was in the green room. You know, that new restaurant in town. I actually need to do something. Done. Sorry. I was in the middle of a date and needed the restroom, and here I am. Sorry, you're not familiar with my case. I stepped through the restroom door into your office. Sometimes when I go through a door, it opens to another place.
But, Fancy Tacos, I understand that, but that guy has a smartphone, and that says 1875. He would be over 200 years old, or almost 200 years old.
No, I shouldn't imagine she did that. I didn't even pass through the waiting room. Besides, it's lunchtime, she won't be there. No, not really. But it's lunchtime, and you don't normally see patients now. Well, Dr. Decker didn't normally see patients now. Dr. Decker was crazy. I arrived late.
I doubt it.
Apparently, he was a fine, upstanding citizen before. I don't know what changed him. Of the few sessions I had with him, he'd observed me walking through doors. I'd walk through a door and I'd disappear. then I couldn't get back. The session was £150 either way, so I paid that for a couple of times and then decided it was a bad idea. As you can see, it's still happening. The doors. I'm still vanishing from one place to another. My dad died. He was on his deathbed and I was complaining about work, women or whatever. It was an idiom. He said, when one door closes, another opens. Then he died. I needed those words to be important. So here I am. He was stoic. He had tuberculosis in his lungs. That's what killed him. Nobody knew until the end. I never got to say I loved him.
Sorry, I can't answer that. It must be frustrating, always asking and getting nowhere. Are you frustrated, Doctor? I see. And how does that make you feel? You're getting closer all the time, but you're still not asking the right questions.
Yeah, maybe. He'd split with my mum 3 years earlier. It was messy. It was bad. I didn't talk to him really at all. They called me as next of kin, said I should come in if I wanted to say goodbye. I did love him. He just broke everything. No. I hadn't seen him for so long. I just let it all out. I screamed, I shouted, I punched the walls. Do you know what he said? Sorry. Over and over again.
They keep framing characters outside of the middle of the frame, which
He did.
further makes them weird.
He really meant it. And when I stopped, when I was exhausted, he smiled at me. Like he cherished me. Like he'd been waiting to say sorry. Waiting for forgiveness. I didn't get to. I didn't get to say I loved him. I didn't get to forgive him. He just said when one door closes, another opens. And then he died. What does he think of me? All those years, thinking I was the bigger man. It turns out he was. There's no going back, is there, Doctor? When one door closes, it's shut forever. How? How do I go back? I think you're probably right. I've been trying to address the symptoms and not the root of the problem. You might be the best replacement doctor this place has seen. I'll book a real appointment next time, and you can help me with this. Thanks, Doctor.
Scarlett, I haven't been in since he died. Since Dr. Decker died. Valentine's Day was awful. I had a bit of an accident with a creme brulee torch and had to spend the night waiting in A&E. I melted a nail to my finger. It hurt a lot and needed stitches. It's all fine now, though.
I love that. It's like a little corny acting, but it's also just so funny.
A complicated man, as I suppose most people are.
A new character.
His external persona didn't match what he dreamed about.
How do you know what Dr.
His dreams were amazing, filled with a spectrum of colours and creatures. It was like Narnia for grown-ups. That was in the beginning. I'm a dream walker. I can visit people and help them in their dreams. You've not caught up on all his old patients yet, then? Chaotic, dark.
Scarlett.
Like an earthquake, everything you stood on shifted into something else. I think he was fighting with something internally. And it was winning. Fluid, soft, intricate things. I couldn't draw a picture if you asked, but they drew you to them. They looked a little strange, but you felt compelled to watch them. I don't know. It's a turn of phrase. Inner demons? Insanity?
I don't think so. I think he was either seeing Mariana or Iris.
Dreams, but I can't force the dreamer to interact with me. It's something I've been able to do since I was little. I was born an identical twin, and my sister and I shared dreams. We just thought it was normal. When our younger brother started having night terrors, we helped him. I just need to know the person, a little, and know they're dreaming. Then I can sort of jump into them. It's something, I think, in my mind. Firstly, I need to sleep myself. I'm constantly tired, so I can pretty much sleep on demand. Before I go, I think of jumping into that person. That's how it works for me. I've tried teaching others, but I don't know if anyone else can do it. I don't know. Lots of people. Whenever I get close enough to tell somebody about it, the first thing they want to do is
The camera's off
find out
angle.
or have me visit their dreams. That's kind of why I'm here. Relationships. It's difficult to sustain them. I'm not just talking about romantic entanglements. It's hard keeping friends too.
Like I said before, I tell them about my ability and they immediately want to try it out.
Don't tell them then?
The problem is, I don't normally like what I see. He's dead now, so I suppose it won't affect him if I admit that.
Okay, you were right, Fancy
yes,
Tacos.
I was. Not near the end, though. Not when his dreams started changing. Like I said, my ability ruins relationships. Who told you? Jaya? I think people try to show off. Firstly, they're a bit shocked if I turn up in their dream. But when they're comfortable with that, they start to put on a show. But most people can't control their dreams, so they tend to turn into nightmares pretty quickly. Oh look, I'm dreaming of a giant Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Oh, why is it destroying New York?
You'll get your prize next time I see you, Fancy Tacos.
When you've experienced someone's dream, if they've been a bit creepy in it or terrified me, it's hard to look someone in the eyes after that. It's embarrassing. What should I do, Doctor? Should I not tell people about my ability? Keep it a secret, bottle it up? I'm not sure that's healthy, but I guess I could give it a try. What if it accidentally comes out? Is there anything else I can do to stop pushing people away? It's difficult to do when you experience them like I do. But I know what you're saying is right. A lot of the time I assume people are controlling their dreams like I can. But they're probably directed by their subconscious, and who controls that? Just thought she'd know. Thought she'd know everything about her precious Dr. Decker. Sorry, we didn't speak that much. But she was a lot like the other woman. So much control over someone who was supposed to be her superior.
I don't know.
Oh yes, here. From a few weeks ago. As you can see, Doctor, he looks perfectly normal. I've never used sleeping pills. I'm too afraid of what would happen to me in my sleep. There's no lake house today, sorry. David's not doing very well. He's caused a problem with the girl. I need to do something.
The little girl, our neighbour at the lake house, she says David is weird and creepy.
Doctor! Oh, sorry, but I found some of the referral letters we were talking about. There is a pattern, but it's not the same for everyone. He said to get them to you ASAP, so here you go.
The fact they do the jump scare tone. Hackett and Brown. Chart token and ball. More solicitors. There's something strange about the names. Pull up a notepad file. Well, this is in America, so...
If Dr. Decker was an alcoholic, he hid it well. I never saw him drink. He certainly never offered me a drink. God knows I could have used one. David has been hunting and skinning again. But from the look of the torso, he caught a domestic cat. I'm being generous. It was definitely a cat. I spoke to David about it, but I have no idea if he can comprehend me or not. He just grunts at me. He doesn't even smile anymore. Not at all. David hasn't been well. Otherwise, I'd taken you. Shall I bring him to you next time? Next time, then. Although it will have to be just you here, and late at night. I can't have anyone else see him. Yes, sorry. I left out an important detail. The girl, Anushka, she was crying because her cat had gone missing, and she thinks that David killed it. Doctor, I'm worried. I'm worried that David's not going to stop at cats. He's killed deer, rabbits, wild birds, and now cats. I'm worried he might add little girls to his list. I can't stop him. I can't stop him. I can't control him in any way at all. Ever since I brought him back from the dead, he has done nothing but ignore me. I'm starting to think that I need to put David out of his misery. That I need to end his suffering. That I need to kill him.
Again?
What shall I do, Doctor? Should I kill David? I never talked to Bryce, but I did talk to Iris. She didn't want to at first. She blames me for David's death, but as we both know, that's not a thing. Anyway, she said she was never locked up in any basement and had never heard of any Dr. Decker. So it's, as I first suspected, a lie. You didn't make all of that up so I'd talk to Iris again, did you? Then Mr. Bryce seems to have a few more issues than me. Perhaps you should ask him about that. I love him so much. But you're right. It's time. He's becoming a danger to people around him, not just himself. That's an interesting idea, Doctor. It's not really something that needs to be done, though. I have no intention of reanimating anybody anymore. It hasn't gone very well in the past. Dr. Decker was very quiet in our sessions after seeing David. After a while, he started talking about David like he was a pet, asking me what I fed him, what he'd do in certain conditions. My solicitors did refer me, but I ended up going privately as it was cheaper. I'm paying them enough already without them getting a percentage of my therapy bill. I think he was fascinated with it all, and David and I had become new test subjects for him. When I said David never listens to me, he urged me to start giving David treats for pleasing me. Not in that way, but showing him how to close a door, for example. If he did it, give him a treat. It did actually work, but I had to stop myself. I felt like I was training a monkey. It just wasn't right. Dr. Decker asked me if I'd ever accidentally locked David in, which I hadn't, but curiosity got the better of me, so I locked him in the lake house. He couldn't get out. He didn't have the wherewithal to operate the lock.
I think we'll stop there for the night, guys. I will see y'all tomorrow. Everybody stay safe. Take care of yourselves. Pick this up Thursday. Good night.